grab your headphones, listen up, you know you love it. Drop the facade. Like the Dark Knight Detective, they've got some perspective. They're a pure crime fighting collective. It's the Bat Pod.
Welcome to this episode of Gotham Currents. My name is Bill Beer, and joining me as always, John Coos.
Woohoo! King of technical difficulties.
King of technical difficulties. That's your new name.
Yeah, I know.
It says your name is the Unburied Stooge number 4.
Yes. The Stooges from the comic we're covering today. The Unburied.
The Unburied, yes.
Unburied. Like us. We're unburied thus far.
I would guess.
I guess we're part of the Unburied.
Yeah, you go.
Yep.
So, tonight we're going to be discussing Batman and Robin, number 19, Batgirl, number 5, and Two-Face, number 4.
The Bat Pod is a spoiler podcast. Please read the comics we're reviewing so you can enjoy the show.
So, our first book up tonight is going to be Batman and Robin, number 19. And we get a cover here. We got Memento, his face behind the Batman and Robin symbol. It says demise of the dynamic duo. And it looks like Batman and Robin are in some kind of bag or something trying to poke out of. It's quite dark.
Very dark. Very dark comic. Very dark cover. But yeah, they're definitely tormented by the grave digger's poppy or something going on there, right?
Yeah, something.
Yep.
Maybe a nightmare, that sort of thing.
I hope this isn't like the death of Batman and Robin. It's got this big question on the cover.
Well, it says the demise. So
I know.
Who knows?
What's going to happen here?
You know?
All right.
So your writer is Philip Kennedy Johnson, artist Javi Fernandez, colors Marcello Maheo, letterer Steve Wands, cover Javi Fernandez and Dave McCraig, and editor Ben Mears. And our issue starts out with a prisoner sitting alone in a cell as Memento sharpens a sickle. Days later, the dynamic duo is running across rooftops towards reported shooters. Batman is still experiencing effects of Gravedigger's poppy. The pair quickly dispose of the shooters, and Robin identifies the Opera House as Memento's next target. Batman tells Robin to return to the Batcave after getting a promise that Robin will not confront Memento alone. Oracle informs Batman that Dr. Bashar received funding from a shell company associated with the League of Assassins.
Of course.
Elsewhere, Robin calls Detective Larachek and asks for help in finding treatment for Batman's symptoms. Larachek is accompanying Jim Gordon to visit Scarecrow. Scarecrow informs Larachek that Professor Bly is waiting for her. Larachek calls a colleague in Scotland Yard and asks them to exhume Atticus Bly's body and make sure that it's him in the grave. Batman invites Robin out to dinner to try and experience a normal life, acknowledging that he should not have instructed Robin to stay away from the chessboard and offered to reset the pieces and play a game later. Robin smiles and says he'd love to play after a shift at Sacred Heart, and Batman plants a bug on Robin's shoe. At Sacred Heart, Dr. Bashar invites Damien to visit hospice patients. They enter the elevator and Damien steps in spilled coffee. He bends down, he identifies the bug and tosses it on the floor in disgust. The lights go out, they come back on, but the elevator is headed to the basement rather than the second floor as Dr. Bashar intended. The doors open and Memento is waiting. He slashes Dr. Bashar with his sickle. Batman races to the scene in the Batmobile and tells Robin not to engage. He initiates the Valkyrie sequence and ejects to the passing bat plane, Batman arrives less than 30 seconds later, only to find a dead Dr. Bashar and a vision who says Memento has the face of Nicodemus Crow and he has taken Damien. So, this is part 6. What did you think of this particular issue?
It's still the same for me in the sense that I'm really enjoying all the interactions between Batman and Robin and Bruce and Damian. A lot. I'm still wrapping my head around after what issue is this, 4 or 5 of this arc. This whole guy. What's his name again? The bad guy, the big
Memento?
Memento. Yeah, Memento.
Yeah.
See, that's how confused I am.
Okay.
But no, but I don't know. I've got a lot of thoughts on the interpersonal stuff between Batman and Robin, and Bruce and Damian, really, and I don't have a ton of thoughts on the rest. But this Nathaniel Crow guy, I mean, is that supposed to be important to us?
Well, he was the guy that apparently was the original Memento in the 1900s. And when they were working with, this Bly character, when Bruce was younger and went by Young Jack, that it was a copycat. And it ended up being that Bly was framed for this.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they didn't think he did it. So
yeah,
I'm not sure who it is. I thought, it might have been this Dr. Bashar, especially when they gave, details that he has links to the League of Assassins and that sort of thing.
Right.
I do like the interactions between Oracle and Batman and Robin. The stuff with him is good. I don't know where the story is headed as far as who Memento really is at this point. I don't really have an idea unless this guy never died.
Yeah. Well,
who they think died. And what their actual goal is. I know they're repeating these crimes, these original crimes, and that's how Robin figured out, they were going to the Opera House next.
Right.
But a Scarecrow, well, Jonathan Crane, who looks like he's having some issues there, recovering. He doesn't flat out answer her who he gave the Gravedigger's poppy to, but he implies that it's her old professor, Professor Bly. And she wants to check out to make sure, that body isn't where it's supposed to be, that he really died and it's not some big fake out.
Yep. Yeah, I like the Lautrec character, the French gal, a lot. But the Batman and Robin stuff and the Bruce and Damian stuff is what I really enjoyed. I said they're clearly not trusting each other, right? Because Batman basically puts a bug on him at one point, and then Damian finds it and is not pleased about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Damian basically called Lautrec to basically say, "There's something wrong with my dad," and so he thinks Batman's influenced by hallucinations and stuff. Batman isn't owning it, so Batman's not being completely honest with Damian, or in the field. There's clearly they're keeping stuff from each other. Batman is skeptical of what Damian's doing in his charity work and all this other stuff. And then these scenes in the manor, I really like them a lot. Bruce is doing his best to suggest, because Damian when he was reading Thomas Wayne's sketchbooks and these things from when he was a kid, he was relating to him, and he was longing for a normal childhood, and he's thinking about stepping away from being Robin just to be a normal person. And Batman, or Bruce, always suggests they go out and eat burgers and stuff. And I like this scene where he says, obviously, if we don't compensate for the sodium bloat and weight gain, we could literally die in the field as a result. And then Damien's like, there it is. Like, you just can't be normal. And then he goes, we'll extend training to offset the caloric surplus. And then Damien's like, perfect. But then Damien just decides, you know what? I'll just eat my normal meal. Don't want to deal with this right now. But then Batman offers, and I think this is allegoric, where, Damien in previous issues in this arc was touching the pieces in the ongoing chess game that between Damien's grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, and Bruce, and Batman got really mad. And then Batman's trying to reset here by setting a new chessboard. I think that's allegoric to kind of to reboot their personal relationship as well. But then he turns around and bugs him. And so even though Batman wants to reset with Damien, Bruce wants to reset with Damien, Batman distrusts Robin. So there's a lot going on there. I liked all that stuff, but it's very deep. And I like the art. Like when Damien finds the bug on his shoe, the look on his face is like very telling that he's like, what, you jerk, you can't even like try to reset for 5 seconds before you put a bug on me, you know?
Exactly.
So I liked all that stuff. Still, again, sorry, brain fart on Memento, since the whole story's called that, Memento Mori. I don't know what's going on, and I still isn't like making a lot of sense to me. Like, is
the visions and things? Why is he having specific visions about former, murders? Why is this Gravedigger's Poppy giving him these visions that he sees specifically? Because when he arrives to the hospital, it looks like it's full of flames and that sort of thing. Right. And there's people out in the street that he drives right by that obviously aren't real. And then when he walks up to, where the Dr. Bashar was murdered, he sees another vision of Dr. Bashar, right. And he says, the devil wears Nicodemus Crow's face, Bruce, and now he has your son as well. Well, it's a vision of that. Well, we knew what the guy looked like.
Right.
I think Batman knew that he had that face. It's like a plaster face.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't like a human face. So it could be pretty much anybody. I'm interested. I guess I'm the least amount of interested at this point. I mean, we're 6 issues in. We don't have a clue what Memento is trying to do. I guess we're going to get a payoff at some point. But I think the best thing about the series is the interpersonal relationships. And I like Larachek a lot. I like that character a lot. I'd like to see her kind of stick around. That would be quite interesting.
I hate to correct you, but I looked it up. You would pronounce it Lautrec.
Okay.
Lautrec. I want you to work on that.
Okay, that is the
I like
Coast
her. I like her
pronunciation.
too. I like her too, and just to close out on her, she seemed older. I think we covered this before.
She seems a little bit older,
but she doesn't really look older.
No, way back in the flashback, she looks much older than Bruce, but here she doesn't.
She doesn't. I know, it's kind of funny.
I know, and we go back and forth of how old we think Bruce is, but
I know. All right, yeah. I mean, I think it feels like there's going to be 2 more books in this story. What do you? I don't know. We'll see. You might know.
Well, this is, from what I understand, an end of a story arc. So
this one
20
here.
starts, yeah.
What's
It's
this
like
to
the
be
end. It's
continued?
the end of, an arc, supposedly. It may be 20 by then, but that would be 7 issues. So
Yeah.
if you put it in a trade, it's usually 5 to 6 issues.
Hmm.
So I guess the next part of Memento will next part be Memento Part 7. I have not read it as yet.
Okay. Well,
So we will
to be
see.
continued. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into some Batgirl of the Cassandra Cain variety. So yeah, Batgirl. We got I'll do the credits and then we'll talk about the cover. Batgirl number 5, Mother, part 5 of 6. Writer Tate Bromble. Pencils and inks, Takeshi Miyazawa. Some more inks by Wayne Foucher because Takeshi couldn't get to all the inks. Colors, Mike Spicer. Letters, Tom Napolitano. And editor, Jessica Burby. What do you think of this cover?
This is an all right cover.
This is that flower that I guess is important to the storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole story is based on this flower, how, the League of Assassins and everybody has abused these sacred flowers, and they're worth killing over. So.
And the Unburied are mad about it.
Right.
Okay, so let's get into it. So because this issue's a little slow, I'm gonna spice it up here. In a heart-stopping descent into darkness, Batgirl infiltrates the foreboding nest of the Unburied, driven by a desperate quest for answers. But her solo mission quickly turns into a deadly trap as she's ambushed and gassed into unconsciousness. As her world goes black, Cassandra is consumed by the haunting whispers of her past, the brutal training under David Kane, her father, the killer instincts honed by Lady Shiva, and the ghosts of her own identity. In the depths of her subconscious, Cass is met with the ethereal presence of Stephanie Brown, woo, her confidant and fellow warrior. Stephanie's words pierce the darkness, urging Cass to confront the demons she's been trying to outrun. With a heavy heart, Cass unleashes her inner turmoil, the self-loathing, the fear, and the twisted desire to save Shiva, the mother who embodies the darkness she's trying to escape. As Cass finally finds the courage to face her inner demons, Stephanie's spectral form vanishes and Cass is jolted back into reality. She finds herself suspended, hung upside down alongside Lady Shiva, who's seething with a fierce determination to annihilate the Unburied and forge an unbreakable bond with her daughter. The stage is set for a battle that will test the limits of their strength, their sanity, and their bond. So, in short, I'll just make this real quick. In the last issue, they get separated in a fight and whatnot with the Unburied. Cassandra is looking for her mom, goes into this cave, gets bonked on the head, and then goes into this subconscious, deals with all these, issues with her dad and her mom, and then Stephanie Brown, in her figment of her imagination, helps her get out of it, and then she wakes up and she's suspended upside down with her mom in a cave. So,
yes,
Bill, let's make fun. Let's make some lemonade out of lemons. Just kidding. This book isn't bad. It's just kind of meandering along. Is that how would you?
It feels kind of mid, as you would say.
It is a little mid. Not like. I mean, look. I like myself some Cassandra Cain. We talked about it. I read that whole run. I think probably like 12 years ago or something. That run that started in like 1999 and went on for like 5 or 6 years or whatever it was. That would really that packed a wallop. It was a lot of action, and there was a lot of it wasn't all this deep torment of herself all the time. And it seems like every issue is like, my mom's a killer, my dad is a jerk, and I miss the bath. I mean, I don't know, but I did like the introduction of when I said let's make some fun out of this. Stephanie Brown shows. Since you and I have been podcasting, I don't think we've had a lot of Stephanie Brown, if any.
No, I don't think so.
And maybe we can talk about Stephanie Brown for a little bit. Do you have any history with Stephanie Brown? Like, did you date her in high school or anything?
Well, no.
Okay.
That was too long before she was born.
Okay.
But yes, I've had experience with Stephanie Brown as Batgirl way back when. As spoiler, she was dating Robin and that sort of thing. So she's been around for a long time, and it's a character that I've enjoyed overall. In addition to all the others in the Bat family,
Yep.
I know in the series Batgirls that they, when they all became Batgirls, that series was pretty decent and they had a pretty good relationship. I enjoyed that right well. So it's like her best friend to me that she's missing her family, because everybody in the Bat family she considers it her family because she has these issues, obviously with her parents and that sort of thing, as you've seen. It really feels like this has been 3-issue story stretched out into 6. It just feels that way. We understand, the issues are going on. So I like seeing Stephanie here, but I really want to see, let's get to it.
I hear you. I don't want to. I don't want to go down a Stephanie Brown rabbit hole, but the reason I asked is because I really liked her in the aughts, the 2000s, when she was spoiler, and then she was dating Tim Drake and all that stuff. And then she got her own book right before Flashpoint happened. I think it lasted maybe a year, and I really liked that.
Yeah, that was really. I really enjoyed that.
And so she's wearing, and she had a cool costume, and that comic book had some great covers actually. But anyway, she in this comic, she's wearing. Is this kind of like her spoiler outfit, or is this her Batgirl outfit? And when she appears in this, because
it's like her new Batgirl outfit.
New Batgirl outfit. So is she currently spoiler again?
No, she's
Batgirl again.
As far as I know, that they're all Batgirl.
They're all Batgirl.
Barbara Gordon and these two, they're all Batgirl.
Okay, cool. Well, anyway, fair enough. So I guess I like your analysis that this is so far 3 issues worth of story stretched out to 6. I mean, I think that's probably a good way to put it. It just kind of seems like it's meandering along, and is anything really going to happen other than Lady Shiva and Batgirl hugging at the end, and then Shiva says something to piss her off, and then they separate, and then I
would assume something like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. They'll be like, no, but you need to come with me and start killing people, or that's your destiny. No, Mom, I'm not. I'm in the Bat family. Peace out. See you next time. I don't know. I see it coming, so we'll see what happens. But all right, I guess that was my attempt to make this part of the podcast interesting, because the comic really isn't right now, except for that spoiler part.
I mean, if you love these characters and really enjoying the story, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It just feels like it's in low gear. Next issue probably will be the most exciting one, because it's going to be the end of a story.
Yay!
Right?
Yeah. Oh, I want to say something kind of funny. I was in the comic book shop about a month ago, and there's this gal that works there. Great group of kids. They're in their early 20s. And there's a gal who I mentioned something about Stephanie Brown or something, and she goes, "Did you see Stephanie Brown?" I go, "Yeah." She's like, "I will never forgive them for what they did." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You don't remember when she was pregnant and then they just kind of like made it go away. And I go, gosh, I'm going to have to read back on that because you're pretty charged up about this. Does that ring a bell to you?
No.
Okay, I'm going to look it up. I will report back to our listeners next time about this outrage. Okay, let's move on to Two-Face.
Yeah, so our next book is going to be Two-Face number 4. We get a cover here. It's Two-Face and Harvey fighting for control. I really like this cover. This is cool because they're like within the same torso.
I know.
But from the waist up, you can see that they're two separate bodies fighting for control. I like this a lot. I wish they would get away from some of these white covers and give us a little color. But overall, I like this cover.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna just do that. I was fine for it number ones or the all in kickoff. Now I'm kind of feel the same as you. I'm not, but I did like this whole like Siamese twin kind of thing.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
And if you notice the way Two-Face is written at the top, it's a normal 2 and then a real rougher face. Like
that could be his new logo. I like the way it works.
Yeah.
The normal side and the chaotic side.
Right.
The order versus chaos. All right.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
So your writer is Christian Ward, artist by Bio Veras. Colors, Ivan Placentia. Letters, Hassan Otzman. Editor, Rob Levin, and your cover is Baltimore Rabius. And I'm sorry, I probably butchered those names for sure.
It's all right.
But last issue ended with the Shadow Hand being revealed as Two-Face. So our issue starts out, it is the trial of Harvey Dent, which takes place in the mind prison of in Harvey's mind. And it's Harvey versus Two-Face for the control of their body. We get a series of flashbacks. We see Harvey as a kid and the abuse he had to endure from his father, and decisions for punishments were made by flip of the coin. Harvey's mom tells him to imagine a locked box in his head in which he names Shadow and sometimes Scarvy to put the pain away and keep it locked up. After the divorce, decision by coin is made by Harvey if he wants to see his father or the Shadow going in his place of Harvey, his shadow self, to take the punishment in his place. And eventually, Harvey's mom kept him away from his father, and the Shadow never came out again until that fateful day in the courtroom. As Two-Face, Dent continued to flip the coin to let bad Harvey out or good Harvey, giving bad Harvey no choice in the matter and eventually putting him in the mind prison. Bad Harvey found an escape route in the mind prison, an open wall on the top of the North Tower. The judge decides who's going to take control of the body with a verdict, with the flip of the coin. Harvey actually catches the coin and proclaims that he is taking over permanently and he will kill bad Harvey once and for all. Our issue ends with the warden being revealed as Harvey's mom and handing bad Harvey a key to help him escape. So, we get issue number 4 of this 6-issue mini, and I've really enjoyed this a lot. This particular issue, I tell you, usually I'm not too fond of these issues with different characters that happen in their head, that not in the physical. But this particular one I like, and I want to give you a little bit of background before I let you comment.
All right.
If you go all the way to Batman Annual 14, it's a 1990 issue. We get introduced to the first time that Dent sort of had his own split personality before he became Two-Face, and his father is introduced and would flip this two-headed coin to decide beatings and to cope with the abuse. The Dark Harvey was born, but that was initially introduced in Batman Annual 14, and I really like that particular issue. I don't know if you remember that or not, but it is worth a read. So,
wow, it's a deep cut. I read it at the time, I'm sure, but because I was buying Batman in 1990, but I didn't. I don't remember it. But let me ask you: did you guys recently cover it? Did you just pull that? Did you just pull that out from the cobwebs, or what?
We didn't cover it, but we did Two-Face Year One, which was 2 issues, and it was sort of related to the Long Halloween. As far as Two-Face, it's added to that. It's sort of the Year One, and discussions with Harvey's father and that sort of thing. There was even an issue that came out in the last couple of years. They had these One Bad Day issues with every villain. And Two-Face, actually, his One Bad Day that he was going to Two-Face, the bad part of his personality was going to kill his father once and for all. And the good part asked Batman to help save him, but didn't say who was trying to kill him.
Yeah. You know what? I liked it too. I agree with you. Sometimes the in your head stuff, I find writers a little get overindulging on the too cute by half, and it goes on and on. But I think this whole issue being that was appropriate for this story, and it was good for the reader to understand that what happened in the courtroom was just pushed these previous childhood issues over the edge, and I liked it. And speaking larger about retcons or these kinds of things, where I think I'm okay with, you got, 70 years of Two-Face or whatever it's been, 75, 80 years of Two-Face, and we know the basic plot, which is the courtroom scene and the coin and the decision making and all that. And it's cool when writers fill in the blanks, but don't mess with the core history of a character, as opposed to people who get a little clever and really literally change what history forever. Like we talked about it, and I can't remember which comic we were talking about, where both of us were frustrated when something was kind of retcon. We were like, oh, that kind of maybe I don't think we ever talked about the 3 Jokers.
I think it was Joker Year One.
Maybe it was Joker Year One.
Yeah.
Because I don't. Yeah,
when his mind was partitioned, and we talked a little about that, and that he had these separate personalities.
Yeah. See, that didn't sit well with me, but this does. This supplements the story. It doesn't change the origin story.
Well, in the New 52, they tried to change some of these origin stories on a couple of these villains, and it didn't really take, because from what I recall, Two-Face, they tried to say at one point that, his face was burnt in another way. And then they never revisited it again. So it was like, and the other was Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze had an annual. It was actually written by Scott Snyder. And in the annual, Mr. Freeze basically, that his wife was not his wife. It was just somebody he stalked. And it made him seem a little bit creepier. And I know the animated series is where we got the majority of what we know about Mr. Freeze. But as far as Two-Face goes, the backstory, I like that, this is his origin. But, let's go into why, he became Two-Face. What really happened, instead of just it's all physical. Some of this is mental that has happened. And they're adding stuff not to change anything, but I think it adds a lot to the story to show this character is not just what you see, flip a coin,
Yeah.
good, bad side. I think there's a lot of complexities to his character, and I like it a lot. He's one of my
Well,
favorite bad villains.
well, yeah. Let's go deeper into that. So, yeah. So, what we know about Two-Face, especially if you're just if you're more into visual media like the movies and cartoons and stuff, Harvey Dent is always depicted as super confident, super good looking, a rising star, politician, um, almost like uncorruptible, perfect. And then the acid event changes everything for him. But this is kind of neat. It's kind of a mini retcon a little bit to make him this insecure child who has abusive father and a mother who kind of lets him go to the father, and then so when I like it almost makes more sense now, because just because you got acid thrown on your face doesn't mean that you're going to turn into this super
Right.
criminal. You're just going to be disfigured and whatever. And I mean, granted, I'm not slamming the Bob Kane, Bill Finger origin story of him, but it seemed that now reading this, you would think he has to have stuff in his past to make him go this route. So it fits right in, and I dig it.
And what about this father?
What a
He
jerk.
he can't just punish his kid for whatever reason. He has to take a coin to flip it and make him think, well, you have a chance, if it flips on the one
My
side, but he would never had a chance. It's just to torment.
it's mind games.
Yeah.
It's mental abuse
Right.
on top of it all. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the '70s. So I got the belt a couple times, but it wasn't like
Yeah, here, let me flip this
Look at this
coin
coin.
where you think you have a chance, but you really don't.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
interested to see where this goes because we have two more issues. I'm not entirely sure. I assume this Dwight Church will rumble on, but he knows who the Shadow Hand. At some point, I think at the end of the series, they're going to come together again.
mhm.
And I don't know if Bad Harvey's going to be in control. Question: I've seen Two-Face handled a bunch of different ways. There's been where one has dominant control or another has dominant control, and sometimes you see them both talking at the same time.
Talking to each other.
Yeah, yeah. What do you prefer? Do you have a preference?
I like
Just
Harvey better.
Yeah.
I think because I feel bad for him generally.
Mhm.
He had everything going for him and stuff, but yeah, I tend to like when he's in Harvey's voice. I'm not sure why. I've never been asked that or even thought about
Yeah.
which one do
Right.
you like better.
I like it where one's dominant for whatever reason. And
You don't care which one?
even here's the thing that I never realized. Instead of and this was told in the story, is he doesn't flip the coin basically for a bad something positive to happen or something bad to happen. He flips the coin for him to make a decision or
Mhm.
Bad Harvey to make a decision. And that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. It's not like
Oh, it's not all binary. Like
Right.
It's just, yeah, it's like
right.
because the good Harvey can also make a bad decision. Maybe maybe Two-Face could make a good decision. I mean, that's a little deeper.
Yeah.
That's kind of that is kind of cool.
Yeah. So
That is kind of cool. The mom wants to. Let's focus on the last page before we close this
Mhm.
out. So, the mom comes back. She's the warden or whatever, and she wants to let out the locked up in the brain, in the mind,
yeah.
Bad Harvey, because it's what was your take on that? Like,
This is subconsciously.
oh, I
So
know, I
his
know.
mother is subconsciously who he has a good vision of, has subconsciously said, okay, you're not real. You want to be real. Says if you're just a shadow of Harvey, then I must be a shadow of your mother. Maybe we can decide just how real we want to be.
Yeah, it's interesting. I
And
guess
she's gonna let him out
let him out. Like, why would the mother want to let the bad Harvey out? Is it because
because that's what the
it's
good
all
Harvey really wants. I mean, he can't
mhm.
go without. I mean, he can't survive without
Yeah,
flipping the
yeah,
coin. And
yeah, yeah,
because early in the series he's faking it, he's faking the coin flip. But he
yeah.
still kills, even though bad Harvey's not there. He still kills. So
That's true. That's true. What do you think of these books? There's been many over the years, mostly with Batman characters, sometimes Luther, where you have a Batman classic villain story that Batman isn't in at all. So, do
I
you
kind
like
of,
them?
yeah, I kind of like that a little bit because if Batman was in everything, every possible thing, it's like the Penguin series that we had on Max.
Yeah,
Batman wasn't in that at all, and I think that was a damn good series.
right. No, for sure. It allows the writer to explore the character absent Batman, being the central point of the story and
Yeah.
everything. Is pretty cool. Yeah, I dig it. No, I like this book, and I like the fact, it's really cool. I mean, I don't know. I know DC has done over the years a lot of great minis, and I've always gravitated to minis and root for them to be good because it allows the writer to write just a concise story, 4 to 6 issues, and it ends. It's going to end, and sometimes they're good. They're good. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're mid or whatever else. But this one's working out great for me.
Yeah, I think it's good. You don't have to, put little pieces in the story and said, "Oh, we'll find that out in issue 27 or 30 and have to wait till it pays off."
Wait for 2 years or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are you listening, Chip Zdarsky? Just kidding. No, but no. It's like, oh yeah, when we were covering that book, you're like, don't you remember it was in like, and you're basically saying 20 issues ago,
Yeah.
he introduced this concept. I'm
I
like,
mean, there's a lot of writers that do
yeah,
that.
I
And
know.
and some pull it off and some don't. I mean, the one
Yeah.
thing that I found, over the years, I pretty much have enjoyed most writers that've been on Batman, detective, that sort of thing. There are a few I don't, but I think it's popular to say, "Oh, it's terrible. He's terrible. Get him off."
Oh.
I think that's the popular thing. At least that's what the internet tells me
Hmm.
is the popular thing to. But I rather enjoyed Chip's run. Ram
Oh, I
V,
did too.
I wasn't a big fan, but I haven't gone out there and say, yes, it's terrible and that sort of thing. But I have enjoyed.
I, well, I generally root for the writers and creators myself,
Hmm.
um, unless we're talking about that run of my favorite character. I mean, that was just Power Girl thing. I mean, but for me, it has to be that bad for me to actually feel that way. I mean, I usually am very forgiving because I respect what they do so
Hmm.
much.
Hmm.
Um, what I don't like, that we just talked about retcons and stuff, is when writers try to put their stamp on something in such a way that they just toss out like decades of history. It almost feels so arrogant when they do that. And I've heard many interviews where writers say that the way it should be done is these characters are on loan to you, and that when you're finished, you hand it back, or you hand it off to the next guy, and you don't basically hand them a situation where the next writer's got to, on an ongoing, has to deal with the crap you wanted to do for your own self-indulgence. Anyway, I don't like it when we know who does that a lot, and we're not going to mention his name. Your face.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but there's some directions that they're like, okay, we're gonna pitch this direction and this is the direction. For instance, Bruce Wayne doesn't have all his billions anymore, and we did that for a couple years, but eventually it comes out back.
Well, that's a good example. That was in Batman, right?
Mhm.
Well, I guess it was. I guess
it went throughout. But it happened at Batman. Yeah, it was Joker War.
Yeah, but by the end of Zdarsky's run, he kind of had his money back.
Yes,
he had
and it was around issue 100, right before, somewhere in there. So it went for what, 50 issues, 50 some issues with no money. I think he got it back right before 50.
Yeah.
So 40 some issues.
Right.
I mean,
right,
that's 4 years. Plus,
yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I want to see Alfred come back, but for him to come back, it's going to have to be some kind of brightest day, kind of ridiculous event or something. It's not going to make any sense. Right?
They could have brought him back during, Dark Knight Metal.
Oh, sure.
Dark Metal or
whatever.
Anything. They could, because they were bringing, they brought Roy back and people so they could have brought him back there, but that didn't happen. But we will see. I would love to see him come back. I would prefer if it just wasn't a snap of a fingers and he came back. Hitting the source wall sort of thing.
Or
flat. Punching the source wall.
Or Flash.
That's how Jason Todd originally came back. He was punching the source wall, and then you don't hear too much about the source wall anymore. It was like, he was put in a Lazarus pit. So
I hate the source wall. I'm just telling you right now. Every time I see it, I just go, "What is this thing? Like, it's out in space, and it's like." Anyway, that's enough. I mean, did that come out of the whole New Gods stuff? It's the source wall.
Well, came out of Crisis.
Oh, Crisis. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the source wall.
I think that's a different. I don't know.
But anyway.
Well, anyway, we're gonna be back again before too long for more Gotham Currents. We got
a lot to cover, I think.
Yeah, we got Absolute Batman #6, which I really loved.
Me too.
That was good stuff. We got Batman and Robin Year 1 #6.
Great book.
Which pretty cool cover with Robin on it. Got a little Nightwing 124. And Detective Comics 1095, which you're going to love.
Oh, you already read it? Got it. Okay.
So yeah, it really hits in the high gear there. So
sweet.
So yes.
All
so
right.
We thank you for getting current with Gotham Currents, and we will see you later.